If you're on lesbian TikTok or lesbians of Instagram or follow any queer content, you're ultimately going to see comments like this in the comment section, saying things like 70% of women in same-sex marriages report abuse versus like 5% of men. Also, get beat 54% of the time, and so on. I see it all the time. And they're trying to make the point that if two women are in a relationship and can't get along and have high rates of domestic violence, then that proves that women are the problem in the world of relationships, even in heterosexual relationships.
Actually, lesbians have the highest rate of domestic violence out of all couples.
I actually didn't know that, which makes you really wonder, like, who is the real problem? Women.
So do lesbians really have the highest rates of domestic violence among all types of couples? So this is a trigger warning because we're going to be talking about intimate partner violence, or IPV, and domestic violence, DV. And my name is Catherine Sloan. I'm a licensed counselor in North Carolina, so please subscribe and leave me a comment. So the statistics they often cite are these. 43.8% of lesbian women, 61.1% of bisexual women, and 35% of heterosexual women have experienced intimate partner violence, or IPV. And that's what we usually see. That's what pops up if you like Google this. So now let's take a further look at the survey where these stats come from. These stats are from a CDC survey from 2010, and it was released in 2013. 48-page report filled with details about all sorts of different types of abuse by any type of perpetrator. Could be a parent, a stranger, and also intimate partners, and it's very detailed. It makes me wonder if these men have ever looked at this report. Probably not. And I've studied this report for about 3 or 4 hours now. The reason these numbers are misleading is because these numbers are based on a person's lifetime experience of violence, which includes abuse from previous heterosexual relationships before identifying as a lesbian. And I'll show you exactly where it says this. It says it right here, where it explicitly states under the sex of perpetrators of intimate partner violence. It says that a third of these lesbian women reported male perpetrators. So once you consider this, the percentage is less than 35%. It's around 30% for lesbians who experience abuse by another woman. This 43.8% also includes grape. And I'm going to say grape here instead of the word because YouTube doesn't like when we say those words. So it's also physical violence and or stalking. So keep in mind that all of these types of violence are lumped together when you see the 43.8%. And let's look at how high it is for bisexual women, which is very concerning. It's 61.1%, and the report says that 89.5% of bisexual women reported having only male perpetrators of IPV. Keep going a little bit further down, it notes the prevalence of severe physical IPV, hitting with a fist or something hard, or slammed against something, or beaten. And these are the stats. Lesbian 29.4%, bisexual 49.3%, and heterosexual 23.6%. Again, it's the highest for bisexual women, so it still looks like lesbian couples have more violence than the heterosexual couples until you take away that a third of those perpetrators were men, as the report says. Then it drops down to about 19% for lesbians. Still, keeping in mind that this is the lifetime prevalence. Also, something else you might find fascinating about this data in regards to lesbian domestic violence is that you have to look at the sample size. And out of the 9,086 females who responded to this survey, only 1.3% identified as lesbian. So that means that this data represents 118 lesbians. Yeah, so that's what we get from a random sample. So when you see these stats, just keep in mind that they didn't interview 1,000 lesbians and came up with these numbers. It's 118 lesbians from a random sample of like 15,000 people, female and male. So this does prove that it's a random sample because lesbians do make up about 1% of the US population. I know it might seem like lesbians are everywhere if you're in a big city, but we're not. You're as likely to see a redheaded person in the US as you are to see a lesbian in the US. Redheads also make up about 1 to 2% of the US population. Very rare. Also, the thing I do like about this report is that it breaks down the type of abuse experienced by sexual orientation. For instance, if we look at Table 6, where it reports being slapped, pushed, or shoved using a pew-pew or choking, some of these numbers for lesbians were too low to even report. For instance, using a knife or a pew-pew, it was too low to report for lesbians, but it was 4% for heterosexual women and 15% for lesbian or bisexual women, When it comes to SA, bisexual orientation, all the numbers were too low to report for lesbians, but it was 15% for heterosexual women and 40% for bisexual women. So is IPV an issue in lesbian relationships? Yes. Yes, it is. Women can be violent. Yes. To me, any type of abuse is really too much abuse, but does it occur more than in heterosexual relationships? No. It's really important to understand that IPV in lesbian relationships should not be seen as more prevalent than any other types of relationships without considering all of these factors when you look at the data. Any reports that you review, you have to take a look at lifetime occurrence of the abuse, and in some reports where it talks about domestic abuse, it's actually referring to the LGBTQ plus teens being victims in their own families, because domestic abuse also means siblings, parents, grandparents. So you have to look closely at the data, not just repeat what you hear somebody say on social media. My last video addressed the lesbian divorce rate, which is also much, much lower than any rumors going around. Please watch that now if you haven't. And I want all the lesbians and queer identified people to know that you can have a healthy relationship. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of lesbians and queer people out here having healthy relationships. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.